Everyone, and welcome to this episode of Zag's AP US History. And here's what we're going to be chatting about today. Today, it's all about this gentleman right here. That's right, you all know and love him, Mr. Alexander Hamilton. Okay, so today what we're going to be going into is Hamilton's financial plan, and we're going to be talking to him. Well, we're going to be not talking to him, but we're going to be talking about the financial plan, the three-prong approach, the constitutional questions that surround this, the political parties that have evolved as a result of this, all coming up on this episode of Zag's AP US History. Let's get started. Okay, so we are in topic 3.10 in our fun course description and guideline from AP US History. So that's what we're going to be talking about here, and this is going to be under the thematic focus of politics and power with our historical themes. So let's get started because we're going to make this quick. Alexander Hamilton, not born in British North America. Okay, he was actually born in the island of Nevis, which is in the Caribbean, and he was born to a mother who had him out of wedlock, and at an early age he was orphaned, and you know that whole story from class. So you have that from college lecture day, so you could access the notes for college lecture day in here as well. This is just going to be a quick overview instead of having the 60-minute college lecture day. So island of Nevis, works in a trade shop, okay, works for a mercantile exchange, and just really has a natural knack for business, okay? So he is business-minded. He loves numbers, he loves money, he loves business, and it eventually brings him into New York City at King's College, which is now Columbia University. So his upbringing is part of this American experience. It's the rags to riches. He's not coming from wealth like our friend Thomas Jefferson, okay? So he comes up through the ranks. He's actually in the American Revolution. He becomes Washington's right-hand man. And this is all going to play an influence in his economic policy. So after the war, obviously we know that the United States is in this new country. There's political, social, and economic chaos throughout the 13 colonies. They revamped the Articles of Confederation. They basically toss them up and chuck them in the garbage, and we write the new Constitution. And Hamilton is given the opportunity here to create a new financial system for this new nation. And he wants to model that financial system after Great Britain. So with the war debt, he comes up with this three-prong approach to get the United States out of war debt, okay, and to make it to come out of the notion of a developing country. He does not want the United States to have a developing country, to not be a developing country. He wants the United States to be an industrial powerhouse. That's his goal. And, this is going to vastly differ from Thomas Jefferson, who wants America to be filled with independent farmers, an agrarian society. And that's where their two different definitions of democracy are. Hamilton feels that democracy is coming through urbanization and coming through industrialization, where Jefferson's views of democracy, because you could have choice, all right? If you're living in an urban environment, you have choices. Jefferson, on the other hand, feels that the cradle of democracy is in the independent farmer. So Hamilton comes up with the three-prong approach for this economic policy, and its assumption, the Bank of the United States, and the tariff. So he wants to assume state debt. He wants to take all the 13 colonies' debt, and he wants to assume that state debt under the United States of America to make it more so a more authoritative government. He's really looking for unity. Remember, Hamilton's thinking on the continental scale. He's not thinking on the small state, local, regional level like Jefferson and Madison are. So he's thinking big picture here. So assume all the state debt. So instead of New York having debt, South Carolina having debt, etc., it's going to be the United States of America's having debt. So what he wants to do with that is form a line of credit with other countries. So basically what he wants, he's taking out other loans to pay off loans, okay? But in the end, he wants to pay off the right people, all right? He wants to have a business partnership with the right people. And what better way to do this is his second prong approach is having a Bank of the United States. Again, some would say that this is consolidating power into a central authority, but Hamilton feels that it's better to be organized financially. It's creating economic stability. So Hamilton puts this notion out there. It brings up a constitutional issue. In the end, Jefferson has the strict construction of the Constitution, meaning that it's word for word, it's either in the document or it's not. And Hamilton has the loose interpretation, and he uses the implied powers, okay? So it stretches out the Constitution. It makes the Constitution, as Chernow would argue, truly a living and breathing document. And eventually he gets it through, and the Bank of the United States is created. He also wants to protect American industry. He wants to give American industry a chance against European competitors, so he creates tariffs. All right, he creates tariffs, and he also creates subsidies. All right, so Hamilton's with his tariff program, it's tariffs to promote domestic business, so they're going to tax any foreign goods to promote American industry. In addition to that, he's going to use the money from the tariffs to create subsidies to help new entrepreneurs, to help new businesses get afoot. Think of the example I was giving of what Amazon and the state of New York had that quasi deal that ended up not happening, but the tax breaks were subsidies. They were incentives for bringing big business to New York. Again, Hamilton would have totally agreed with Amazon coming to New York. So assumption, Bank of the United States, tariff. It brings up the constitutional issue. It brings up the rhetorical question of who has the power, the states or the federal government. It brings up the differences between North and South, Northern and Southern ideology. North, urbanization, and that's the avenue for democracy. Urbanization, industrialization. Whereas the Southern view, the Republican view, okay, again, time out, not you can't draw the line from this Republican Party to the modern day Republican Party, but the Jeffersonian Republican Party is this independent farmer type of notion that's going to bring economic democracy in there. So we get the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans. They're going at it. They're going at it head to head. So Hamilton feels, to bring this all back together, that Hamilton feels that you need a strong, centralized government with an implied power to the U.S. Constitution to create democracy, to create economic stability, and moreover, also to create protection. Remember, the French, the Spanish, they're all still in the region. The British are still in the region as well. So the United States is borders are very, we don't have a real standing army. We don't have a navy whatsoever. So, he's doing this as a unifying front to protect the nation as part of our national security. So Hamilton's financial plan, that plan will lead to constitutional questions, will lead to state power versus federal power questions, all questions that we're going to answer throughout the course of U.S. history, okay? Because these same questions, it doesn't matter if you're in the 1790s or the 1860s or the 1890s, okay? These questions keep popping up throughout U.S. history. They're fundamental constitutional questions. This is Zags for AP U.S. History. That was Alexander Hamilton in under 10 minutes. We'll see you later. Strive for the 5. Peace. I'm out.